2014 will be the year of the truth revealed. The year of the truth revealed. And I think you're going to find out very soon what we mean by that. Yes. No more cloak and dagger, things hiding, being hidden. Secrets are going to be revealed in 2014, so get ready to hear a lot of things that are shocking and some good news too, but a lot of government and corporate corruption being exposed. It's going to be kind of a chaotic 2 years coming, so get ready, you guys. Be very prayerful because it's going to be some improvement in various areas. We'll go into detail, but be very prayerful because it's going to be a bumpy ride, as Betty Davis said.
So if you're going to ride the roller coaster, make sure you're strapped in good.
There you go.
Yeah, we're going to be in the front seat.
We'll be in the front seat. Yeah, there's going to be a quickening in psychic consciousness. Starting this month, due in part to astrological and karmic influences. But more people will be experiencing prophetic dreams, precognitive dreams and flashes than ever before. The main reason is we feel that all Earth beings are going through a major transition called the ascension or the awakening. And our bodies are becoming more crystalline. Many light beings are assisting us in making dramatic polarity shifts. So get ready. Increased manifestation potential is very, very exciting for a lot of people that dare to take risks and really prepare. If you don't know computer skills, get them now. That's where people are hiring, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we just feel like it's really a tremendous time of opportunity for people in the coming year if they want to take the risk. If not, well, you're out of luck. You missed the boat.
There you go. Yes, it's no matter what happens, no matter what comes at us, we're put here, I believe, as a school to ascend, to evolve. So, just like you said, sure, things are going to come at us, but be prepared. Do your best, and that's all we can do. Now,
yes, that's right.
I wanted to ask you, talking about things being revealed, not necessarily secrets, but what about a TV special I heard in a rumor mill called True Believers? Can you tell us anything about that?
Oh, okay. You must be psychic, David, because we just taped our TV special on Friday, and it is the working title is True Believers. That may change, but it went wonderfully. We had about 8 guys and a film crew in our apartment. You have never seen so much equipment. We could barely move. And we have a pretty large apartment, but we could barely move with all the lighting and oh my God! And it was a lot of fun. And we think you're going to really like this. This is supposed to air around April,
early April,
and they're covering mostly our weather and tornado predictions. But we made a lot of predictions on that show, which we'll cover today as well.
Wonderful.
We're also being profiled in a Hay House book coming out very soon. It's called Conversations with Mediums, and that's coming out in the next couple months. And there's another book that's profiling us, but we can't say the name of that. We are sworn to secrecy. And that's coming out February 1st.
Wow.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that book, Conversations with Mediums, for sure.
You'll enjoy that.
All the most famous mediums are in the book with us, and it's so exciting. And that's been, I think 4 years in the making. We've been waiting on this Hay House book for a long time. It's going to be worldwide, you guys.
Yeah, we did not write that book. That's by Scott Podmore. But we're profiled in, I think, chapter 10. So, boy, we had something incredible happened on New Year's Eve when the clock turned midnight here. I walked by our chandelier, which has about 7 or 8 lights on it, and I felt this woo-woo, like this crazy sort of
funky feeling.
Yeah, funky feeling, like I was going to sort of pass out or something. My knees buckled as I walked past the chandelier, and one by one, every light in the chandelier exploded and went out. And I said, this is going to be a good year. Terry, this is going to be a good year.
I was here. I can testify it happened.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So you know we have a strong electromagnetic energy, as we've talked about in our books, David and Christine, and you have it as well, I know.
You know, I don't want to get too far off subject, and I'll make it brief, but we had some friends down here recently, and we went out. They were paranormal investigators and authors, and we went, and they wanted to see Alcatraz, the Winchester Mystery House, and the USS Hornet, which are all haunted.
Right.
I did get a couple of the best ghost pictures I've ever had from the USS Hornet, but it was in the Winchester Mystery House. We went on the night turret, no lights, and when we got, I experienced a spirit on the second floor. We got code, so forth. It turned out to be one of the carpenters. But when they took us into the her seance room, it caught me off guard. I felt like I was floating. I came out of my body. I didn't know what was going on. I got dizzy. And
really?
If we hadn't left when we did, I told Cheryl, I grabbed onto her. I almost fell over. And then when we left, I was okay. God. I don't know what happened in there, but I must have connected with something.
I saw the pictures you posted, and wonderful, wonderful. When you were here, I remember you and I were having a conversation, and suddenly you said to me, you have like an office building of angels and angelic protection behind you. And you said, I've never seen that many angels. And I'll never forget it. I get choked up thinking about it because it was really a beautiful thing to share. Thank you, David.
And boy, do we need them right now.
One thing that I noticed that happened to me this year that was extraordinary is we were videotaping, we had rescued a cat, and for the first 3 weeks, all she did was sleep. She was severely dehydrated and, not fed. So she would sleep and eat, sleep and eat, sleep and eat. Well, one day she finally started to get up and start playing with the other cats. So as we were videotaping them, we discovered hundreds and hundreds of orbs in the house. I mean, I don't know, it was like a gateway or something. It just looked like they were just flying through, and I just like hundreds of them. I couldn't believe that they didn't stop. And that was an amazing thing that happened to me. So I say,
that's amazing. Did they come out in photographs or videotape that you could post
online? Yes, they're all in videotape, yes. I have several of them.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so it is going to be a great year after all.
It's going to be a great year. There's a lot of protection around you guys, a lot of angelic protection. Trust me. It's because of your deep faith and your prayers.
Thank you.
And all
wonderful.
You do for people and animals.
We appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do.
Now,
you're welcome.
Talking about posting things, I saw a Futurescope, and I was shocked. My chair almost rolled back to the other side of the office. I saw your model pictures, which are amazing, and then I saw Lady Gaga, who I thought was her own master of her own destiny. From the looks of it, looks like she copied a lot of your stuff. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yes. We were absolutely horrified, actually, to be honest. We found in researching, that over the past 5 or 6 years, Lady Gaga has been, shall we say, strongly inspired by every single one of our original costume designs from the 1980s and 90s and even the early 2000s. Linda, made all those costumes myself, almost all of them, and Terry and I designed them together. And we were horrified because she's always said she designs her own costumes. And that's really what made her a big star, was the uniqueness and originality of her costumes. And she has a House of Gaga that constructs them all. And so Terry and I were pretty shocked and not a little bit horrified to find that every single design was almost exactly duplicated.
And these are our not only trademark signature costumes that Linda made, but these are characters that took us 15 to 20 years to develop, and these are, quote-unquote, her signature looks. So when we got it out on public and social media, we got all the pictures out, and we were Twittering and Facebooking, and then we realized that Bing had removed all of our photographs from the Bing search engine.
Illegally.
So, we don't know if that's even legal, but they're censoring our photographs. And so these are like famous photographs, by the way. So use Google, you guys. Don't use me.
Google, but the newsletter is on our website in case people are curious to see the comparison photos. It's going to be shocked. People are absolutely astonished and outraged.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yes, that's true, because I was looking at them today, and they are amazing. There is no doubt that they're copied. There's no way. I mean, they're almost exactly, and they're all so unique, and they're all so beautiful. And for her to say she did it. Yeah. They're so gorgeous and amazing, and they're almost exact copies of what you guys have made. I'm amazed.
Wow. We just, we don't have the money to bring a lawsuit, and legally we can't say that she copied us, but I think the pictures kind of prove, for themselves. Yes. They speak. The pictures worth 1,000 words, and in this case, a million words.
The photographs say it all. They say it all. But that's our art, and that's our life. People are saying, "Oh, you should be flattered," and we're like, "Well, if somebody
steals your identity, it's not flattering, you guys. It's art. It's our lives." And it's not cool to take things from other artists. So we have to
not credit them.
We have to really be cool about it as artists. Give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. So
that's right.
We just wanted people to be aware, even though we can't make it a lawsuit. We probably should, but we prefer not to at this time. And we just wanted people to be aware of what's really going on. And it's like a matrix. We feel like we're down the rabbit hole again.
Oh, yeah. We're in the matrix,
yet again. This happened with a well-known book as well to us. So we're not going to go into detail about that, but we are very, very surprised. It feels cathartic, though, to finally share all the photos.
Well, if you have something good, people copy you. And if they do,
thank you.
Whenever these things are going on constantly, it's a battle, but it, as I said before, it makes you stronger and smarter. You know what I mean? It makes you prepared for the future.
Oh, that is so true. That is so true.
Yes, right. It makes us strong, really.
And we know who the real artists are.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's very sweet.
That's very kind.
And talking about the future, I bet you have. I don't know, every show you have the number of predictions you have are increasing. I don't know if it's the Earth or universal energy, but I'm willing to bet you've got a binder full of predictions for us today. And
we do. We have so many predictions, and I think we're getting more organized, too.
Okay. Well, do you have anything on the economy and perhaps turmoil?
Oh, yes. Actually, we have plenty on the economy. We do see upcoming turmoil. More corporate and government corruption being exposed, as we mentioned, church corruption also. We see a currency crisis over the next few years, a gradual loss of the dollar, the U.S. dollar as reserve currency of the world. It's no longer as safe as it was to invest with the U.S. dollar. I think market volatility will continue. I think it will be more up than down in the coming year, which is good. But we do think that Greece, Japan, Russia, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and the U.S. are all in trouble with currency. And you'll be hearing more about that in the news. The debt burden for the U.S. will continue to rise.
And we're seeing some market volatility continuing this year and next. We're seeing a couple of sizable stock market corrections over the next year or two. And we correctly predicted those over probably the last, I think, 15 years now. We've been accurate, even calling all the stock market crashes. So we are seeing some corrections. Get ready. We see a modest increase in jobs. That could definitely improve, and it'll be a gradual improvement of jobs. If your skills are computer, wage and labor market prospects are looking better than, say, if you're doing other things, but make your skills complement the computer, and you should be in pretty good standing.
Very good. Yeah. We're seeing good long-term investments for 2014 being oil, gas, biotech field, wellness. So those are all pretty positive areas to invest for long term.
Okay.
Now, politically, we are seeing a lot of interesting things. It's quite a shift now in power. It feels like for a while the Democrats were doing very well with the Senate and House, and now we're seeing a shift back. I'm feeling, as Terry was, that the Republicans will win the Senate in 2014. There's a strong likelihood of adding more seats. There is a surge with the Republicans coming. They're riding a wave of voter anger and frustration.
Very similar to 2010, what happened with 2010 elections.
Yes. We wanted to touch on Obamacare just a little bit and what we see for that. I think that Obamacare will have a very detrimental impact on the economy in coming years. We were both feeling unintended consequences with Obamacare. I think somebody once said, I think it was Jonah Goldberg, who said it was like pushing a refrigerator up a flight of stairs, and that's what it kind of feels like. The rollout hasn't been exactly smooth.
But that's putting it mildly. But even we had our insurance canceled, and now we can't get insurance. So it's like it's a very tough situation, and I think it's going to be, honestly, I think healthcare this year is going to be a gold mine for identity theft and insurance frauds, scams, and con artists. You're going to see a lot of lawsuits. Yes. You're going to see a lot of insurance companies being paid off and, supported by the government because what happened, they lost so much business through all of this. But I really feel that there will be huge government payouts to insurance companies to compensate for their losses. So it's going to be kind of a mess, really.
Yeah. Tens of millions of policies are going to be canceled by small businesses by the fall. And our insurance was canceled, actually.
You said that.
So
that's a shame.
Yeah,
we liked it. We loved our insurance, and it took us many years to get it, actually, because, as artists, we're self-employed, and it's very hard for self-employed people to get insurance. But anyway, it's funny because I called up our insurance company, Blue Cross Anthem, and we said, well, you told us that we had a grandfather plan, and the lady on the other end of the phone said, oh, well, you could just forget about that grandfather stuff. And we were like, God, is this, what, are we in the Matrix? It was like they weren't even willing to help us out at all. So if Blue Cross is like that, we're in trouble.
There's a bit of a disconnect going on between the insurance companies and what the government's telling them. But anyway, moving along to something more positive, we see that Hillary will likely run for president in 2016. And in order to do that, she'll have to probably distance herself from President Obama. But we see that we're heading into more the year of the woman. The next few years will be more geared toward women doing well, people being empowered in general, but women especially coming to the fore and leading the cause and getting more jobs in corporate, more executive jobs, higher positions in government and corporate.
But I really feel like women need to step into their power and take leadership roles and take CEO positions. And, I was just talking to a wonderful friend of ours, Kim Archie, who is really, really an amazing person who's working for the rights of, injured cheerleaders and young football players that are, brain injured. And she said, gosh, I was raising all these children, and then it wasn't until I was in my 30s and 40s that I started really being able to take, all this work. And that's the case, I think, with a lot of women. They're raising children. They're taking care of their families. And it's so hard to, take corporate jobs or leadership in corporations. I think we're going to see more of that coming to the fore, women really being empowered.
They need to. This is no longer Victorian times or pre-Victorian pioneer times in the United States. Now it's pretty much a necessity. And we've been through the women's rights movements and everything, and it's been proven that women can do the same job as men, if not exceed that. And that it's about time women take a major stand and major positions in the world to help make it a better place.
Amen.
Thank you.
I was asked when I had my last job if I had any problem with female supervisors. And I said, no, they have a lot of wisdom to them, and they can see things that we can't. I said, I think I'm all for it, to tell you the truth. I'm all for it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I really look forward to the day when we're paid equal to men. It's ridiculous. We're in 2014, and you're getting like 70% of men get paid.
Ridiculous. I feel like we're in the 1800s still.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's unbelievable.
There are some female CEOs, like the one of Yahoo, for example, that have really impressed us, showing that, a female as the CEO of a major corporation. Wow.
Yes.
Things are really changing, so let's hope it keeps going. Like you said, it's good to hear the woman. Now, there's another major topic, too, that's kind of like, there's many people talking about immigration reform.
Yes, I'm glad you asked about that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing progress with immigration reform this year and next, David. I don't know if it's going to be a comprehensive bill, but it will be moving forward. I feel strongly about that.
I do, too.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, here's a touchy subject, and, whenever you talk about things like this, you don't make it happen. You just report it. But it seems that newspapers sell more headlines when you mention terror plots, lone wolf attacks, and mass shootings, things of that nature. Are you seeing anything like that for 2014 to 15?
Unfortunately, we are, yes.
Yes, unfortunately, David. We're seeing Al-Qaeda growing in sophistication and reach. We're seeing Al-Qaeda plots targeting the U.S. Being in the planning stages now.
Well, actually, just as a side, we were the only psychics who predicted the Boston Marathon bombings and terror attacks on 4 different radio shows, and one of them was yours, by the way, David.
Yes.
I remember.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 2012. We said it on your show and on 3 other shows that year. And unfortunately, we are seeing more terror threats happening in the United States. The threat is really higher today, and it's more diverse than it was, despite the government's narrative that terrorism was on the run and Al-Qaeda was in decline. We said the opposite was happening on your show a year ago, and it turned out to be true. And we mentioned North Africa and Yemen and Egypt and all the places where those terrible attacks actually did then occur. We are seeing it still being quite threatening, and I think terrorists will be focusing this year and next year on smaller events, making it more difficult for the intelligence community to detect plots against American targets. And there's sort of a hybrid form of what Al-Qaeda used to be. We're seeing a couple of mall attacks being plotted now. One plot being in, we're getting Minneapolis. It could be the Mall of America where there's a jihadist plot sometime either this year or next year. We're not sure if it will actually occur, but we keep vibing on the Minnesota area, Minneapolis area, the Twin Cities. And malls, by the way, are soft targets. They're considered soft targets where, there's easy access, there's large groups of people that gather, and low security in general. And we're seeing huge plots happening over the next couple years, offshoots of Al-Qaeda being responsible, and some Americans being involved. So be on your guard in malls, because we're seeing at least 2 or 3 mall shootings or attacks. Could be homegrown. And could be Al-Qaeda connected.
And we did predict the Nairobi, Kenya mall attack that happened last year on your show. So we're seeing steady gains in the Middle East. Al-Qaeda is making steady gains in the Middle East, in Syria, and North Africa over the next couple of years. Really what we need is predictive intelligence. We need a different kind of intelligence, which is psychic intelligence. And we hope that everyone reads our books so that you can tune in. Do you realize that only 30% of people now have faith in the government, in scientists, in news anchors, in journalists? Only 30% have faith in all of these people, and they need to read our book. All the people that are doing, the journalism and news anchoring need to read our book because they're missing it. They're missing these things. The weathermen are missing all the predictions. Yeah. So I really feel like we need a new kind of intelligence.
Absolutely.
We do. It's funny. We had John Zaffis on our show last night.
Yes.
From the paranormal, and he was telling us that not everybody believes in spiritual demonic, and until they experience it, then they change their mind. I mean,
exactly.
People just need to step outside of the box of fear and into knowledge and look back at a different direction, and they'll see. I mean, if your predictions on the shows that you predicted come true, don't leave people scratching their heads or thinking and wanting to look into it more. Then I don't know what else you could do,
Yeah, right. What more do they need? An interpretive dance? We're being very specific with these predictions. And every year we stick our necks out to do this just to, be of help and help people possibly circumvent the disasters or mitigate the disasters.
And yet we're the ones that have the 98% track record of predicting these events. We're the ones that are targeted and ridiculed and criticized.
Correct.
By the media, by the scientists. So something's wrong here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what's wrong with this picture? There's a willful blindness going on in the media especially, don't you think, David? To these threats and to the people who are actually predicting them, there's a willful blindness. And I think that is a big part of why we're increasingly moving towards being a dystopian society.
Yes, that makes sense. That's the way it's moving, and we can change it.
Yes, we can change it with our prayer and intention. Absolutely.
We certainly can. And, it's really getting crazy. Like, I've never seen things like school shootings before or trains and airports being targeted,
right.
here and in various countries.
And we actually were the first psychics to predict, I think we've predicted all of the major terror attacks worldwide since we did the Coast to Coast AM show in 1999. Fortunately, we haven't had a major terror attack in New York since 9/11, but there have been the plots that we predicted that were thwarted. And we're seeing, a possibility of an attack in New York City, East Coast, being planned now. Particularly, I'm seeing JFK Airport, a plot, again, maybe thwarted, but, be on the high alert for that.
Yeah, there's also something with a building there that maybe there might be a terror plot around a building in New York City. We're seeing New Jersey, Arizona, Washington State being vulnerable for terror plots or mass shootings.
Washington, D.C. as well.
Missouri. Terry, we were both vibing on Texas again.
Yes, I keep getting Texas, Dallas. Dallas is coming in as a possible shooting of some kind. It feels like a possible mass shooting.
Houston and Arlington as well. In Texas, we were seeing those cities being targeted, or areas around those cities. We're seeing Florida.
And again, when we talk about the mass shootings or attacks, these are not necessarily Al-Qaeda or terrorist related.
No.
Often the the media will jump in and say it's not terrorism. Well, to me, anybody that's getting shot or any mass shooting is terrorism. I don't care if it's domestic or foreign.
Absolutely.
And so don't believe the news if they say it's not terrorist, because if there's a mass shooting, it's terrorism.
Absolutely.
We're seeing D.C., Virginia is vulnerable, also in high danger, Colorado again.
Michigan.
Something about Colorado. I don't know what it is with that state, but there's a lot of school shootings there. We're seeing
we predicted 2 or 3 of the mass shootings in Colorado over the past few years that happened, unfortunately. That huge one in Denver at the movie theater, where so many people were gunned down, and we're seeing some pretty dark. It's a vortex of energy in Colorado. That is all. We're also seeing one in the Texas area, and it's especially dark. So I think those states need our prayers, especially Georgia as well. We're seeing Michigan. I don't know if Terry mentioned California, but we're seeing California.
No, I haven't yet.
And LAX again being a target. Portland, Oregon, Nevada, Georgia.
You know, you think that people would calm down in Colorado or mellow out now that marijuana is legal there, but I guess not.
Well, let's hope so.
let's hope so. But I think if darkness is meant to happen, it'll find a way, whether they're smoking dope or not. I mean, unfortunately, that's why we have to be especially alert. And everybody's so on their technology and not really looking. They're not alert to the signs. They're not making eye contact with other people because they're always on their cell phones.
But we are in favor of medical marijuana, because I know some people that it's really helped who really need marijuana for PTSD symptoms or brain injury or pain or cancer. There are a lot of people that benefit from medical marijuana. We're going to see more and more states maybe legalizing medical marijuana, as they have in Colorado.
Yes, and it's about time. Also, in high danger, David, just to continue with the conversation about the terrorist attacks or the mass shootings, we wanted to mention North Carolina and South Carolina, where there are a couple of plots right now. In Europe, we're seeing Germany, UK, England especially being a target, the London area again. We were right about some plots that happened in Germany and England and London last.
I was feeling Germany, France, and England just today as targets. And, there are always plots over there. They have a large al-Qaeda community.
Japan, I'm seeing Syria, Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, I think I mentioned Iraq, and Yemen. Yemen is the most dangerous. They're all destabilized right now, destabilized countries, and I'm seeing an increase in terror attacks in that area and northern Africa.
Definitely.
And middle and eastern Africa.
Yemen, Russia, India. We're seeing Egypt again in the news with increased unrest and political unrest throughout the Middle East. And so just be, very, very aware in those areas.
We're also seeing 2 assassination plots on Obama being thwarted. Hopefully, we're praying they'll be thwarted over the next couple of years.
Now, we have been right over his entire administration. A lot of psychics claimed that he would be killed, and we said, no, he will not be assassinated, and we've been right so far. So fingers crossed, everybody, be prayerful that none of these plots occur and that no one is successful with these. There have been a lot of people arrested for Obama plots.
Yeah, at least 1 or 2 will be thwarted, we're feeling. And we're going to go into cyber attacks now, because we are, as you know, we've been predicting the thousands of cyber attacks that have happened over the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they've all happened in the last few years. There have been more cyber attacks, as you know, than we've ever seen. And I really see increasing massive cyber attacks and espionage on banking and finance, government and information systems, computer networks, and telecommunications in the U.S. could involve China, Russia, Iran, or North Korea this time. In the next couple of years, I'm seeing bank hack attacks throughout the next couple of years. And all of this happened last year. In fact, what happened with Target, as you know, millions and millions of passwords were stolen, and even the passcode numbers, the PIN numbers were stolen. 40 million users at Target, shoppers at Target, were hacked. And so we predicted that as well.
And we're seeing more WikiLeaks types of scandals. Edward Snowden is going to be releasing more stolen NSA documents. I don't know if you realize that he stole like 1.7 million documents. And he only released 1% of what he has. And it's classified documents and information. He's only revealed a few thousand so far. Out of 1.7 million documents, we see many more being released this year. It's going to cause a furor and an uproar politically. We don't have an opinion about that. We don't want to offer an opinion about what we think. There are so many pundits talking about, how they think he's a traitor and so on. I always think there's something good about truth being revealed, however, and we mentioned this is the year about truths being revealed. And I think things like this happen to awaken people to doing things in a better way. And we still believe that. We still believe that there's good that can come from the problems, the suffering, the difficulties that happen as a result of truth being exposed.
Wow, that's a lot going on there. Now, do we have any good news, like medical advances and breakthroughs for the coming years?
We absolutely we do, and so much good news here on the medical front. We probably have the best reputation of anyone in terms of medical advances and breakthroughs over the last, dozen years or so. And this year and next year are going to be very, very encouraging. We are seeing so many advances and breakthroughs in, for example, new fertility treatments to help people conceive and those who want
people
to
conceive later in life. Yeah,
we're seeing breakthroughs in breast cancer, lung cancer, and other cancers. We're seeing breakthroughs in addiction, Parkinson's disease, great strides in heart disease and strokes. And also stem cells, many more advancements in stem cell research, headaches and migraines. And believe me, we've suffered from those all our lives on a daily basis. A lot of people don't know that, but the work we do has even increased the migraines that we get. So we will welcome any breakthroughs in that regard. We're seeing prostate breakthroughs in prostate cancer, weight loss, and obesity. I'm seeing a lot of breakthroughs for mental illness, David and Christine. I'm seeing, depression and eating disorders, and a lot of breakthroughs with the mental on the mental illness front. And we have so many young people that suffer from depression too. So
oh my goodness, we don't need metal detectors as much as we need mental detectors, we always say, because so many young people especially are suffering from mental illness, and like Adam Lanza who killed the 22 children in that Newtown massacre a year or so ago. He was delusional, paranoid, maybe even schizophrenic, but he had a condition that needed help, and it went undiagnosed and untreated, and that's unfortunately very, very common. Insurance often doesn't cover mental health issues, as you know, and we're seeing more preventive measures being needed by the government and by health officials. We need to see more of this in the news, more of a conversation about mental health, guns, a culture of violence in general. And this is what needs to be focused on. There's no way to prevent these because they'll occur whether we have a conversation about it and increase laws and programs. But we can focus on being a loving presence and a beacon of light in other people's lives, and really try to focus on how we can increase our own psychic intelligence and prevent these things. Be on the alert for children showing odd signs, disconnects, acts of rage, violence in the home, or depression. Really, people need to be more aware, David and Christine.
Well, does any of this have to do with, if somebody has a mental illness, there's many different types, but if somebody does, is there any way that they can be helped in any way? Is somebody doing something wrong? Are they like eating at McDonald's all the time, foods with preservatives? Should they be eating more naturally? Should they not be taking medications as much or something? What is it that could change it?
Well, good question, because both of us really believe that diet plays a significant role in mental health and depression even. Exercise is something, we need to be doing. And so I've suffered from depression all my life, as has Linda. And diet is extremely important. Homeopathy can be helpful. Allergies can play a role. So I really feel like we have to be watchful of our diets and what we're eating. And that can be very helpful if a child, for example, is allergic to red dyes or additives. That may put them over the edge and send them into a depression. If they're doing the wrong drugs or recreational drugs, that can put them into a depression.
A lot of young people are too sensitive for even the most mild drugs, recreational drugs, and they don't realize even one use can put them in the hospital or kill them. So people need to be made more aware of the dangers of recreational drugs for the young people.
And we're also seeing breakthroughs for AIDS and HIV. David, as you know, we're the ones that had predicted the AIDS cures and breakthroughs that have happened over the last dozen years or so.
Very exciting.
Very excited to see that. Breakthrough in Alzheimer's research, multiple sclerosis. I'm seeing that, as well as a breakthrough in PTSD and strokes in the next couple of years, so plenty of things to be excited about.
And autism as well. We're seeing new technology coming out. Very exciting stuff. Eating disorders, we're seeing breakthroughs with that, and there's an increasing number of eating disorders with young girls and boys. But we're seeing very exciting scientific discoveries that could have a major impact on human life in coming years.
And it's so funny because there are all these kind of scientific shows on TV. One of them is called Futurescape with James Woods, and it's funny, they got the title, I think, from our newsletter, which we call Futurescope, but we were watching it and laughing because they have these scientists who are putting like telepathy helmets on people, and we're like, who needs telepathy helmets? We can read minds. We can predict the future without that. We've got psychic intelligence.
We can scan hidden memories and read minds already. We don't need that. Just buy our book. We just got the biggest kick out of that.
Oh my goodness. So funny.
We don't need a microchip in our brains.
Give me a freaking break,
But science is just catching up to what we've already discovered.
Bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts.
Christine, do you want a microchip?
Can you hear me, David? Can you hear me now? I got kicked off. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, you got kicked off.
I got kicked off. Yeah, I've been trying to talk, but
I saw it and I brought you back. It somehow.
Oh, thank you.
It was a computer, not me. The computer has a mind of its own.
Oh, that's right. It needs a better microchip, I think. It needs a better microchip, I think.
It's that microchip.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And
we're
happy to have you back, Christine. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I'm just listening in. I'm so excited. I wanted to say something about the Target thing because I got affected by that too. And I don't watch the news very often. It's so depressing. But then I found out I did shopping during that time, and my bank called me, and now I can't use my card for 2 weeks. It could have been worse, but it just inconvenienced me. It's terrible.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that we go to Target often, but for some reason that entire month where they said that the cards were being stolen, we had not shopped there until literally the day after
it was discovered.
It was discovered, and by then we psychically just knew, I guess, not to go shopping there. And we missed it. So we missed having our credit card stolen.
It was
I'm so glad.
Major hassle. For a lot of people.
I know. I felt bad.
That kind of thing is going to be happening more and more, you guys. So
is there anything we can do to prevent it?
As corporate.
What can we do?
I think psychic intelligence and just training yourself to be very intuitive, to know when to use your card and at which restaurants or stores or malls to be on the lookout and check your statements regularly.
Yeah.
Because our bank always lets us know if we had our credit card stolen 3 times last year.
Our identity stolen.
Oh,
as well.
wow.
So it does happen a lot more. Yeah,
several times.
We have to just be very intuitive and know when it's happening and have a good bank that lets you know.
Yeah, be more alert. That's all we can say. You may not be able to prevent it happening, but at least take immediate action and have the cards canceled and call your bank.
Yeah.
We wanted to get into our extreme weather predictions, David, if that's okay.
Awesome.
Is David there?
I don't know, but that would be wonderful.
Oh, did you nod off, David?
No, I cut off by accident.
Can you see how the spirits are interfering with us here? There's so much spirit interference.
Yeah.
The devils are playing with us. They don't want us to get this information out there.
But we're seeing a lot of extreme weather again for the next couple of years. We're seeing severe storms, mega storms. We're seeing very big hurricanes, Cat 4 and 5 strength hurricanes, but on the east coast of our country as well as other countries, and typhoons increasing in the next couple of years. So just be very, very careful, you guys.
It's going to be an active hurricane season this year with a major hurricane hitting the Gulf Coast. We're also seeing, we wanted to go into, Florida. People asked about Florida, and we are seeing probably some extreme weather in Florida over the next couple years. It was sort of hard to pinpoint the exact date of when Florida would be experiencing it, but just be sure you have protection.
Yeah, and the main mistake that people make is they don't evacuate when they're supposed to. So make sure you follow evac orders no matter where you are in the world. We saw what happened in the Philippines with that huge typhoon, and it was so sad with 10,000 people who died.
Wow.
And we did predict that on your show, David, as you know, that mega typhoons that happened last year we predicted.
And hundreds of thousands had to be relocated.
We're seeing in terms of earthquakes. Now, we live in California. We lived through the big earthquake 20 years ago. And our neighbors say, when you guys move, we're moving, because they know that if we're clearing out, we live in the major fault line of Northridge, and they know that if we move, they're moving.
Yeah, we moved from the apartment next door, right in the same building. We moved to the one exactly adjacent to it because we had a flood. And our neighbor got really nervous when she saw us moving out. She thought, do I have to move too? And we said, no, relax, we're just moving next door. But we're not seeing an earthquake immediately.
There will be strong seismic activity in California, particularly Southern California, next year or two, and there's a high risk and strong likelihood for a major strong earthquake coming up, and it's inevitable, you guys.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It's when.
It's just pinpointing when. The Ventura fault line is more dangerous than people realize, and we're on the Northridge fault line. But
that's still vulnerable, by the way. So prepare now. Everybody in this area should prepare now, and all up and down the east, the Pacific Northwest, Seattle also, Northern California, should be prepared with supplies like food, water, flashlights, extra batteries. You were seeing all along the U.S. West Coast and the South American West Coast and U.S. Pacific Northwest being vulnerable to seismic activity, more seismic activity in the next couple of years.
Yeah, again, significant seismic events occurring in China, the Philippines, Turkey, Mexico, Brazil, Chile, New Zealand, Indonesia, and California, also Italy. I feel like LA isn't really prepared for a major earthquake here, and so
the technology and the data capacity will be cut off if there's a major earthquake. You know, we didn't have the internet back in 1994 when the Northridge quake happened, you guys. So cell phones, internet connections, all kinds of technology is at risk now that we have internet and rely so much on it, everyone.
Right.
So that's much more of a risk of being cut off from the mainstream. Just make sure you've got sort of reserve ways to communicate in place.
Oh, and I just wanted to add Taiwan to that. I know some people consider Taiwan being part of China, but not everyone does. We're seeing China and Taiwan. Flooding, major flooding, all over the UK particularly, and in our country, in the Gulf states.
Yes, yeah.
How about tsunamis?
In the Gulf states, Texas.
Yes,
not in the U.S. We're not seeing a tsunami coming anytime soon, Christine.
There is at least one tsunami warning, but not for the U.S.
In another country, yes, we're seeing one being possible. We were getting Thailand or Indonesia. We were seeing Asian areas being more vulnerable to tsunamis than the U.S. You're going to hear a lot of people going, doomongers saying there's a tsunami coming to the east coast of the U.S. this year, and we're just not seeing it. We're frankly not seeing a tsunami hitting our country anytime soon.
Now, with Fukushima, people are asking, they want us to talk about Fukushima. Everybody's calling us. We're seeing that's like a major problem. There have been explosions there underground, causing a great deal of radioactive chemicals to be released. Mm-hmm. And we're feeling the effects here. Even the snow here in our country is showing the effects of radioactive chemicals. So we're going to see more of that coming up. They have to find a way to protect other countries and Japan from this Fukushima problem.
Yeah, it'll continue to be a very toxic situation over there and even here. So, and affecting, of course, the oceans and the fish and the wildlife in that area. So more needs to be done, of course, and I'm sure they're working on it. It's just going to be sort of a slow process, figuring out what to do. We're seeing big tornadoes coming up, killer twisters affecting many states in the U.S. in the next 2 years, more violent storms, and even megastorms continuing in coming years. So 2013, we saw more megastorms, as we predicted on your show, David. Boy, was it a year for megastorms, and the East Coast is suffering so much right now. The Midwest plains,
that awesome blizzard, they have record cold from the Arctic blast Hercules, which hasn't happened in 20 years. It's the worst cold, and it affected probably 90% of the country. Our hearts go out to you. Please travel safe. 9,000 flights were canceled just this past 4 days with Hercules.
At least 16 people were killed in that already, just in the past couple of days. So please, drive carefully.
Intelligence to know when to travel, and we're seeing major killer tornadoes in Tornado Alley, particularly the Midwest, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama comes in, and Missouri even for twisters. So
we're seeing F3, F4 being most likely, F2, F3 or 4.
I'm seeing a possibility of an F5. I think that there should be mandatory shelters in all of those areas where,
Right.
Moore, Oklahoma got hit, and Joplin. They should have mandatory shelters for the students and for everyone that lives in the community.
Yeah, there are children that are dying in these killer tornadoes, and they don't have any underground shelters, even in the schools there. So please prepare, because it's going to be an active tornado season.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they should have shelters. I mean, it's been happening for centuries with the Americans in this country. I know a lot of people have shelters in their homes. Not everybody does. Some people live in trailers. A trailer park, they should make it a law that they have. Like, remember during the Cuban crisis, we had civil defense fallout shelters. Well, why don't they make one shelter for the community of a trailer park, for example, for people to go in and be safe? There should be a law, like we have a law to retrofit buildings or build buildings safe for earthquakes here. So they should have, they're just backwards. Lives are at stake. They need to do something.
Yeah,
great
sense?
idea. You read my mind. You read my mind on that.
Psychic. Don't catch me.
Oh my gosh, that is exactly what I was envisioning, was a community shelter underground.
It's not always easy though, because the weather service didn't issue a single warning for some of the biggest any of the killer tornadoes that happened a year ago, and so people are on the highway. They can't always get to those shelters, but it certainly would be an improvement, wouldn't it, David?
It would be, and if I had a news station, I'd say, and now the weather with Terry and Linda Jameson.
Al Roker even said that on the Today Show. I got to call those psychic twins and get what they're seeing.
We have some of the most major meteorologists are following us on Twitter now.
Dallas Rains and people like that.
It's about time.
They're cheating.
They're cheating.
But
at least they would get correct information out. At least they'd get correct information out.
That's right.
They're probably listening to the show right now. I wouldn't doubt it. They're probably listening.
They probably are and taking notes. Oh, my goodness.
But in terms of
technology.
Oh,
we covered earthquakes, right? We're seeing for technology coming up an impressive range of technological breakthroughs that are going to have a very significant impact on human culture. We're even seeing a flying car that would use like superconducting super magnets. They already have magnetic trains. This car is going to be extremely costly. But we do see this happening over the next couple years, being absolutely able to be produced. It would float on like a magnetic cushion, and it's exciting. It's really in its infancy stages, but we've actually seen it happening, and I think over the next few years it's going to even be made available, but extremely expensive.
Well, those of us who grew up with the Jetsons are a bit disappointed that it hasn't happened yet, right, David?
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I was waiting for that.
They have flying cars, and now that, but I think it'll be quite a while before everyone can be flying around with them.
We see breakthroughs in solar technology as well, and green industries, very exciting stuff coming up.
Well, in tech, I just saw an article recently that they think in a few years we're going to have 3D, where you can get on your cell phone and project in a 3D image with a double lenses somehow, and like on Star Wars, Princess Leia.
You mean like holographic?
Like a hologram.
Yeah, that's what I meant. There's an article recently, I think Coast to Coast radio show posted it in their article section about that. It was quite interesting. But yeah, we're just going out of this world with technology.
That is amazing. That will be incredible.
That's really exciting.
But, wow.
Well, the future is here. Yesterday's science fiction is today's reality.
It is.
It's a brave new world, as Aldous Huxley said.
I know when I saw
very exciting.
Star Trek, in the 70s, and then later on I watched it again recently, and I said, oh, my God, they're using the iPad back then.
Oh, what?
Well, you know, when they were in a meeting, they had a meeting. They picked up this pad with the information, and it kind of reminds me of an iPad.
Isn't that funny? Yes.
And all the other stuff. So, is there anything else in technology you see?
Good. Wow. Yes, we're seeing a lot of it. It's almost like there isn't that much more they can do because we're already just adding to what we've already invented. I don't know how much more they can do with cell phones that they haven't already done.
Well, they're going to be growing limbs and body organs in labs and have more scanning devices that'll help facilitate cancer diagnoses and heart disease. It's going to be very state of the art. Body parts transplanted. So we're seeing breakthroughs in that. Yeah, absolutely. So many good things coming up technologically. Big advancements.
Well, you know how they have
hydropropulsion. Propulsion technology, warp drive. Just stuff allowing us to do what science fiction writers didn't even dream possible until now. And it's a whole new world. Very exciting time to be alive.
Somebody in another article I'd like to do research and read proposed that there would be a cell phone implant in your head, and they plant this chip in your head, and if you get a call, it's controlled with your with energy of the waves of your brain, to where it programs and is aligned to your energy. That you can do cell phone calls with a chip in your head. Like, I'm thinking, really?
Wow, that's insane.
That's insane.
Can you imagine how that would interfere with the meridians, the energy meridians of your body? Acupuncturists would just be against that.
They would. It's like they're mapping neural pathways.
How would you recharge?
Neural pathways.
Yeah.
They want to make us robots. All of us, robots.
They want to make us into robots.
I think so.
Unfortunately, robots are replacing most of the jobs now that used to require manual labor. That's one of the reasons so few people are employed. And we have such a high unemployment. It's because robots are now replacing a lot of the manual labor and physical labor. It's going to continue. So that's why we say get computer skills. Whatever you can do to increase, your being in the modern era, because it's going to be more and more difficult to get work as we move into the computer age and the space age.
Well, let me ask you this: I had some friends over the other day that really don't use computers, and I said, "You've got to do it," I said, "Nah, and I said that pretty soon you won't be able to pay bills or do anything. These companies will not work with you. They're cutting out the paper trail, they're cutting out law things, and you have to, they're wanting you to pay electronically and all this." And they said, yes, the only reason we had to go on the computer recently is because we couldn't do something without email and this and that, and we were forced to go on the computer. Those people who want to stay off the grid are going to lose out, because I think we are being gradually forced not to use currency, not to use paper, to be in the grid, to be on the computer. It's just, that's the way
so that we can be tracked, you mean, and controlled.
Well, that could be one of the reasons too. It could be. Plus, making things quicker and easier. Now,
and that's the problem. Like if there's a major power outage or blackout or attack of any kind, can you imagine how that will mess things up for banking and finance?
Oh, the U.S. isn't prepared for that. No.
Well,
I saw that's what worries me.
Where they were attacked. Our military was attacked by an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and they shut everything down. But they had saved some old analog technology that wasn't affected by it, and they used that to communicate with. So, you know what I mean? So when my bank in 1980, that I no longer bank with, switched over to computers, and I said, "Are you going to have both systems?" "No, only computer." I said, "What happens if it breaks down? Then what?" A week later, I came in there, the computers broke down, and we had to do it by paper.
Geez, psychic, you knew what was going to happen.
Now, talking about psychic and psychic predictions, I like to use the word celebrity, that is a touchy area that a lot of people, I'm sure, would like to hear. Do you have anything in that arena today?
Yeah, we actually do have a couple. We're seeing some celebrities going into rehab and possibly overdosing this year, and I pray that doesn't happen, but we're still seeing it, and just because we're predicting it doesn't mean it's 100% going to happen. We really always say the future is not a fixed event. It's not, written in stone, and that we can change our destiny.
Mm-hmm. We see some major stars going into rehab this year, female and male, and we hope that it's a wake-up call for young people, because I think that the young stars are getting too much money and attention and power and fame before they have a foundation to handle it. And we're seeing some real addiction problems with some of the major TV, film, and musical stars. We're seeing Princess Kate Middleton will announce another pregnancy, possibly in the next year or in 2015. We're seeing another child being born.
Probably going to see another Kardashian marriage coming up, and get ready, folks. They don't last too long, but we wish them well.
A fashion icon will be passing in the coming year. A big fashion icon. Yeah. One of the big fashion designers, feels like a male, will be passing away. And we're huge fashion fans. I'm a fashion designer myself and a costume designer, so I follow that pretty seriously, have always. And I just feel that they're passing the torch. Fashion is just taking such a turn toward many different divergent trends, and going back into tribal and futuristic and retro and 60s and 50s, and there's so many different styles now. It's an exciting time, I think, to be a designer. You don't have to really follow rigid fashion rules anymore. Remember when you couldn't wear white after Labor Day? That was when we were young, that was the rule. Yep. You couldn't wear white pants or white skirt or white shoes after Labor Day. That doesn't happen anymore. Anything goes pretty much. We're going to see a lot of interesting breakthroughs with fashion and printing and 3D jewelry, 3D printers. You asked about technology, David. 3D printing technology. It's so exciting.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Print me a diamond. Please.
Yeah, 3D diamond.
Print me a 3D diamond.
They're actually 3D printing artificial limbs now, and that's going to be very exciting. Yeah, that move. I mean, hands that can move and grasp things. So for a
fraction of the cost of an artificial limb.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff. So we're going to see many more breakthroughs in that technology.
I think that's going to cause problems, too, because people can print their own guns, and then, you're going to have the whole problem of licensing the guns, and, that kind of stuff.
An ongoing issue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big issue.
Well, talking about celebrities, I've noticed that it seems like either Christmas or just after, or every New Year on January, that you hear about a lot of deaths right after Christmas and New Year. Does Spirit want to go home after that one more New Year or something, or what? Like my dad and uncle died just after New Year, but they waited to just after the wife's birthday, which is January 16th. But is there anything to that a lot of people wait till their birthday or Christmas or New Year's or something like that, and then they go home?
Interesting you would mention that, because we had a very close friend who's had to put her dog down a couple days ago, and we were lucky enough to give the dog Reiki energy the night before, and it was really, really emotional. And plus we just found out, a friend of ours died. So I really do agree with you that, there is probably something to that. They should do a study on that.
Yeah. I think also a lot of younger people who are taking their own lives or dying suddenly, like Paul Walker died in that horrific crash. He was going over 100 miles an hour from the Fast and the Furious, and he passed away at the age of, I think, 41. we're going to see more of this happening because I think, again, there's a sense of, you don't think it's going to happen to you. And these young people...
Invincibility.
They have a sense of being invincible, and it could never happen to me. And I can drive fast even though it's a 35 or 40-mile speed limit. I can take risks with that kind of thing. It's not going to happen to me. But I think that he was a cautionary tale, and many of these people, they've served their mission. Their mission was not to be old in this life or to have a long life. They stood for something, and I think that's why they died in such a dramatic and horrible way, is to sort of shine a light on the problem. Just because we're coming up on the end of the show, you guys, I wanted to just talk about a little bit of spiritual encouragement, since we talked about some negative things.
All right.
In the past,
wonderful.
Half hour. Terry and I really feel that we need to deprogram in coming years, deprogram what we've been taught is true. As I mentioned, it's an increasingly dystopian society that we live in, and by dystopian I mean that's the opposite of utopia. They're often characterized by dehumanization, environmental disaster, cataclysmic problems, terror attacks, economic downfall, riots, increased surveillance, and it feels like more and more society is broken in many aspects and divided ideologically and racially. There are many gender biases. We're bridging that gap now, but everything must break down, we feel, in order for a rebirth to occur. It's a natural flow and cycle. And so even though it feels very unnatural to us now, we see a new system emerging out of all this chaos. And, we see a need to redefine what it means to be human and redefining the American dream. Right now. This year, it's all about that. Remember, we said truth being revealed. It's all coming about to help us wake up. I think our culture perpetuates this concept of separateness. And they're more apt to blame other people. People feel victimized and separate and helpless to really change the direction, the trajectory of society. I'm going to cry because... it's so emotional.
Yeah, we are all reflections of the whole. We're all interconnected on a deep energetic level. And actually the word crisis, it comes from the Greek word crisis with a K, but it refers to a decisive or defining moment. And it's in Japanese, it means danger and opportunity. So a crisis is an opportunity, and we try to see it in the most optimistic and positive way.
Yes, crisis periods are the winters of human experience, as someone so beautifully put it. Winter always turns to spring, and crisis to awakening. And so if there's a silver lining, it's that we are all awakening to deepen our spirituality, our faith, our sense of interconnectedness with each other, and our interconnectivity, if you will. And our human emotionality so affects every living system. It's really important, and that we really get that we're not separate. We're all one, and we write about that in our book, Psychic Intelligence. We're going to see in 2014 to 16 a movement toward more togetherness, more connectedness, harmony, collaboration. Yes, harmony, right, Terry, optimism, or feminine qualities being expressed in leadership, and more women gaining power and having influence in society. I think it's time, don't you?
Yeah.
That occurs.
Absolutely.
Because women have for too long been suppressed.
I totally
the feminine
agree.
Power.
Yeah. I really like what you said. That I appreciate what you said about it was all beautiful, and I agree with it all. And I hope that we could get more people to think that way.
And here I go. My analogies again. The ocean is a body of water, and all the molecules are interconnected. It's basically one, correct? When the weather changes, it evaporates and goes up to the sky into a new realm out of the ocean, which is different than that of the ocean, and they experience clouds, a different environment, so to speak. When enough of them get together, accumulates moisture, they drop, they're individual up there in the sky. Then when it rains, they go back and they're all one again. Is that what you were trying to tell us? Pretty much that's how we are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, very well said.
And as far as going through turmoil, tribes of Native American Indians live off the forest, the deer and the plants and the berries, and then they see they're very heartbroken, they're sad. The forest burns down, they move away. They come back a few years later, and there's a brand new forest there. Wow. So it's just what you said, we have to go through the fire in order to get the gold. So there it is.
Right.
Absolutely. It's a forging process, yes. In Buddhism, they call it Hendoku Iyaku, turning poison into medicine.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, we can learn a lot.
That.
I do, too. We can learn a lot from you guys. Read Psychic Intelligence. Go to www.psychictwins.com. Unfortunately, we had so many predictions today, we don't have time for any callers. I'm really sorry. But thank you, Terry and Linda, for joining us. And
thank you guys so much. We love you guys.
Enjoy.
Oh, we love you, too.
And we'll see you in the future.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetheart. It was our pleasure.